Hey guys, Paul here. Today we're going to be reviewing a product from Games Workshop, the Servo-skull palette. It is a silicone palette. It's around roughly 6 to 7 inches long, and they released it a couple of weeks ago. A little late, but better late than never, of course. And yeah, we're going to be reviewing it, putting it through the ringer. Okay, literally, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be putting it through the ringer in terms of paints, how effective it is at its job, and what's the overall rating. Should you buy it? It's $15, by the way. So right off the bat, this thing is small. Here's a Games Workshop or a Space Marine. This is a Blood Angels Captain to scale. I haven't finished it yet. Here is a 250 ml Tamiya cleaner, sorry. So yeah, it's small. It's small. All right. Here's a Vallejo and Citadel Paint to scale as well. The image in the website actually is blown up a lot. I was expecting this thing to be a lot bigger. This is roughly around from endpoint to endpoint around 6.5 inches long. The main body itself is around 5 inches long, 5 and something, at least from here to here. So what we're going to do is put this thing to the test, or through a test. And the test is as follows. We're going to be just dumping paint on it without a care in the world. And we're going to see how effectively it comes off. Because the entire purpose of why it's so dang flimsy, at least it feels like it's flimsy, and in fact it's kind of see-through. Actually, it's scary, is to test and see whether we can kind of scrub it off, or according to its website, you're supposed to do it like this, or like you're popping out ice cubes out of the tray or something, and then it will come off and it's gonna look squeaky clean. So we'll see. All right, so this is going to be the roster of paints I'm going to be using for this test. We have a white acrylic primer. This is the red Citadel paint. So if you use Vallejo, AK 3rd generation, Army Painter, all that stuff, these two will be your representation. And I'm using two for them because there's a lot of acrylic painters these days. Acrylic is king. Tamiya acrylics, which are different from Vallejo and Citadel acrylics, will be represented. This is a Testors Enamel paint, so they're represented. Lacquer from Tamiya, so lacquer paints are represented. And this thing, the crown jewel of this challenge, at least I envision it to be. Maybe these two are the crown jewels because enamel and lacquers are completely different. But this thing is a texture/crackle paint made for basing and diorama. So that's what that is. I'm going to cake it on a little thick and see how it goes. Because as far as advertising go, if you read the description on the website, you're supposed to do this, and the paints weren't really supposed to stick on in the first place. And so you can just remove it with a little bit of soapy water, right? And it should be good as new in theory. Also, we're not going to be using thinners. I feel like that it's not going to be cheating, but it's making it a little too easy. It's supposed to be a challenge, right? To see how well the Servo-skull palette holds up. Yes, that's what the skull is. This is imagine a dog, but it floats and does various jobs for you throughout the Imperium. That's what a Servo-skull is, by the way. And yes, it's an actual skull that they've converted into a dog, a robot dog. Anyway. So we're just going to go from left to right here, okay? Nothing fancy, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm going to be putting the white primer right here on these first two. Citadel acrylic is going in. I'm going to put a lot. See how it goes. Tamiya acrylic goes in. So note a distinction. This one in the middle will be Tamiya acrylic. I'm going to put quite a bit. Yes, as you can see in the corner, I'm using different brushes just so it doesn't mix and ruin the experiment. This is going to be Testors Enamel here. Yeah, this is going to be Tamiya Lacquer right there. We're going to be occupying this spot right there. Finally, the texture paint. Put it on the damn forehead. So the secret with texture paint is the or crackle paint, like the ones that crack, like a dry desert effect, you know, with that cracking, or Martian earth. The trick to them is the thicker you apply it on certain spots, the bigger the cracks or the bigger the rock formation looking things would be. So I caked it on a little bit on that part right there, and that actually, yeah, just that part right there in the middle and on the right there. So yeah, there it is. Now we're gonna let it dry. I'm off to eat lunch. So we're here in the kitchen to use the sink. All right, we're gonna be using warm soapy water for the palette. Before we do that though, I'm gonna show you the thing that keeps us all together, the glue of Sunward Hobbies, all right? The most valuable player, MVP. The Keurig. This thing works 24/7, doesn't require any day offs, isn't requesting sick days. Without the Keurig, we wouldn't be here. Thank you, Keurig. Sponsor us, please. Now, for those of you keen-eyed viewers, when I was doing the lineup of the paints, I'm sure some of you have noticed, and maybe some of you have even begun typing. Yes, I know, I did it on purpose. The white paint, the primer, is already kind of pre-thinned. I included it, you know, because why not, right? Plus, there are some people who thin them down one more time with a little bit extra, one more drop to help it out. So yeah, I figured, you know what, let's just include it. Why not? One thin paint. The rest, completely pure. And as you can see, they've basically dried. And look at that, looks like sludge. But I can already tell the silicone working wonders. The top part hasn't dried because some parts haven't dried. It hasn't fully stuck. If this was a paper palette, it would have 100% stuck. But since it isn't, I think it's doing wonders. Now, this will be my soap. And I'm gonna do warm water. Okay, that's quite cold. Oh, before we do that, let's do what Games Workshop intended us to do, or intended for us to do, which is this. Bending it and popping it. As you can see, it isn't really cracking like ice cubes popping out of the tray. The bending isn't really helping, and because it's silicone, it hasn't really fully stuck. Some have, but I guess the silicone has completely done its job. And while I was doing that, some of the undried primer has already started to go away. But some are sticking though, meaning it did dry. So to remind people, this is acrylic white primer from Vallejo, Citadel red paint, Tamiya acrylic red paint. This is, I think this is, this is Testors right here. So enamel. This is lacquer Tamiya, dried really fast. As expected, it dries the fastest. And then this is acrylic texture paint for basing and diorama. All right? Okay. As you can see, this is soaking. All right? And soak. All right? And this is warm water. Let's remove it. And I'm not doing anything spectacular here. I'm just gently kind of agitating it. Let's lower the water down a bit. But yeah. I had plenty of soap in it too. I'm doing a second washing with warm water still. So yeah, after a more thorough second washing with more soap, a little bit more pressure applied with my hands there. Yeah, look at that. Most have come off, even the enamel and the lacquer. There's only a little bit left of both the enamel reds and the acrylic reds. There's basically no whites left, and the some of the Citadel red stuck. But otherwise, yeah. Okay, this is working as advertised. Great job, Games Workshop. This is pretty good. And you know, it's to be expected. It's silicone. It's hard for paint to stick to silicone. It's not like it's again a paper palette or whatever, or even some of the low quality polyplastics, right? So it is a challenge after all, right? So this thing got worked the third time, and look, it's almost spotless. Virtually no traces of paint remain, just aside from stuff like this. But yeah, the large pools are gone. This is pretty good. Is it worth $15? Good. For the size, no. If it was slightly bigger, like 8 to 10 inches, instead of the 6 to 7 in some areas, right? Because of the weird shape of the Servo-skull, then I would say for $15, it would have been worth it at that price. But even, you know, with the good quality silicone, nothing is tearing, you know, in the details here, no tears, right? Despite the scary see-through nature of it, semi-see-through, translucent. Yeah, it's still not worth it. I would give it, like, in terms of its function properly, I would give it like an 8. It's pretty good. But in terms of overall effectiveness, comparing it with the price, the size, all that stuff, about a 4. It's too small. That's the main complaint. Too small. This thing is just 4 out of 10. Again, 4 out of 10. It did its job, but there are a lot better palettes out there. For the value anyway. Again, function-wise, it's good. The silicone is actually proper. No tearing. It's just too small. It's too small. So, right. Till next time, guys. Okay, follow us on social media for more reviews like this, more content. And yeah, we're going to be more active. The studio will be set up soon. I can't believe I'm saying that. It's been a year, but keep an eye out, okay? Thank you.